I hope you can hear me. I am a noob at all this, as I said in my last live stream, so it's sometimes a little tough for me to get this new software right. And my, I don't know, I think it's like this with all YouTube streams, oops, but my, I can't talk right now, sorry, it's Saturday. Everything's kind of delayed, so if it takes me a minute to answer your questions, please be patient. But basically what I'm going to be doing is bringing this Odalisque, which is like one of my favorite paintings from college, into the era of COVID-19. So that will be interesting. But I already did this sketch yesterday, just after work, when I was done with my work for the day, and I thought it would be kind of funny, so I just kind of came up with some ideas here, and Tyler, my husband, helped me come up with some as well. So I'm just going to start coloring it now. Really all I'm going to be doing. Also, I'm still trying to figure out the music thing, so currently no jams to listen to because it's not royalty free, so I will look into that more. How do I approach drawing human anatomy? Let's see. Well, I actually personally love taking my own reference photos. Clearly for this one, I got to look at this example, which, I mean, I think that anatomy is elongated quite a bit from this original painting. But I got to look at her pose kind of and made it a little bit more geometric from there. But normally I'll take my own reference photo, kind of trace over it in a way that is a little abstracted, and then from there I'll like trace over it and reiterate the proportions a bunch as well from there, so then it gets like even more distorted from the original image and becomes more of its own stylization. So I always recommend taking reference photos. It's kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, a little bit of a cheat to find a reference photo on the internet. I mean, of course I'm basing this off a painting, so I can't really talk, but I usually take my own unless I'm in a bit of a rut and don't have time. But for the colors for this one, I'm just gonna pick some colors from an old piece I did because I'm super lazy right now. So I'm just gonna take this piece I did for Get It Girl and drop that in here. And this is where I'm gonna start, but I'm not gonna I don't think I'm gonna end up with the exact same colors. I will just start here as a base, and then I can adjust from there. Whoops. And a lot of times I really like to do a more refined sketch of my rough sketch, so that's what I'm going to do here first. So when I say refined, I just mean like add a bit more detail to it. And these are going to be like more of my final shapes, which I'll get to use when I actually put color into it. Such a alien head. Maybe I'll make that a little bit less exaggerated. And for this one I have type around everything, which I don't usually put on my Instagram posts. So I'm going to play with doing like a swipe post where the first one doesn't have type on it, and the second one has these like descriptions of what's happening. And when I do my refine sketch, I really like to add more detail, like these little hairs. But yeah, please, I mean, anyone who's watching, I'm here for question answering if you need it. Obviously, this is a weird time to be doing a live stream, but I figured with everyone being home and all, maybe people would have free time to join, so thought I'd try it out. Does not have a nose, just realized. I like to use a lot of curves and streets as I'm drawing. So, let's see. Here's an example. Like this is one big exaggerated curve. And then that kind of juts into, I guess this isn't really straight, but like this is a curve and then this is a straight. And then another curve, and then mirroring that on the other side is this straight shin. Hello everyone, thanks for joining. And you notice that I'm using the brush for some shapes and the pen tool for other shapes on your last live stream. What's the thought process behind that? Well, it really depends. So I typically use a brush, but with my passion project, I really like to get more of those like clean, super, I guess like hyper real edges. And so since I didn't really want texture on those edges, I decided to go with more of a vectory look for the shapes and what this person, Stay Balanced, is referencing is. Let's see. So on my last live stream, I was using like shapes, I don't know. I was using shapes for some of these harder edges, which I still haven't finished this frame, whoops. But that's because I really wanted the texture to show up in the hair rather than the skin, so that's kind of what I was thinking there. But then here, I'm just like, I'm sketching right now, so I don't usually use shapes when I'm sketching. Shape layers, but I probably won't for this one because I'm just trying to keep it like loose and fun. What leads me to choose a specific color palette? Thanks for the question, Bruno. Let's see. Well, I mean, I try to keep like my general rule of thumb is to have a warm color, a cool color, and then like a neutral light and a neutral dark. So that's kind of my base for colors. And then from there, I tweak it as I go normally. But this piece, Forget It Girl, that I'm going to base my colors off of, I have a neutral light, which would be like this light pink, and then a neutral dark, which would be that dark blue, and then a warm tone, which is the hand, and then a cooler tone, which is the green. primarily, and then sometimes I'll add in accents like this blue. So that's kind of my base. A lot of times I will reuse palettes and then tweak them just because I've gotten used to my process with that, and I trust my old palettes, and I'm also lazy, so that's the thought process. As far as Justine's question, any tips for smooth line work? I mean, I think rotating the canvas helps a lot, but also if you turn on this smoothing tool, like this will make everything look really clean. Oop. Whereas if I tried smoothing off, it's kind of, well, I think this brush is just already smooth, but having like a textured brush already kind of hides any of the imperfections, but the smoothing tool will like overcorrect you when you're drawing and it's a little wobbly, which is nice. I don't know, overly dramatic. It's kind of why I went with the Autodesk painting, because it just looks so ridiculous. So that's where my thought process with this also, I was just bored. Am I doing any more quarantine illustration challenge? Those were pretty cool. Hi, I have not thought about doing another one. Personally, I love illustration challenges, but they're really hard for me to keep up with, and especially now I'm, a little bit more stressed about everything that's going on. So as of right now, no, but it would be kind of cool to try my hand at another one. Although I feel like the cool thing about the one I originally did was like I feel that my answers now might be very different than my original answers. So it could be interesting to go back and use the same prompts again, like next month, and just see what comes of it, because I'm probably going to be cooking something very different this month rather than next. And I don't know, this process seems probably really repetitive to everyone, because I'm tracing and redrawing and everything, but it's just, I think, what makes everything look clean in the end. But I probably don't have to do the whole thing so clean, since it's just like an Instagram post. But I really appreciate you guys joining. I know it's kind of a weird time. I hope everyone's having a good day and like a good weekend. And hopefully not many other people are taking their whole weekends up by like drawing and doing art all weekend. Sometimes I feel like I need a break. Earlier today, Tyler and I went on a really long walk and it was super nice. I feel like I really needed that. Hey Benoit, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Where would you advise a beginner to start? Is your School of Motion class too advanced? That's a good question. I think that the School of Motion class can be adjusted to whatever level you're at. That being said, it's a lot of work, and if you're just beginning and you don't have any illustration experience, I might suggest either taking the design kickstart course that they have, which is more like vector design, like with typography and stuff, but those are good principles to know. And then that could be a good option, but I also think that it's really good to just sketch a lot and maybe do illustration challenges from Instagram to kind of get yourself familiar with the tools, and then maybe do a couple Skillshare classes before you take the illustration for motion course. I mean, I would love anyone to take it, obviously, but I don't want anyone to like get too overwhelmed either. So it depends on how confident you're feeling. If you're an absolute beginner, maybe start a little easier and like ease yourself into it. With that being said, the School of Motion course is going to be yours forever. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, you can always come back to it. Okay, cool. Hi, Ben. Nice to meet you. Have I ever considered mentoring before? I mean, I have, but I just also have a lot going on, so currently I don't want to overwhelm myself. I think that's one thing that I do too much of, is I take on too much. So I would love to do something like that, but I just need to make sure it's at the right point in my life, because it's just a little bit crazy for me right now. And yeah, but I'd love to. I mean, that's kind of why I did the School of Motion course and the Skillshare class, was like, hopefully that some of the knowledge I've gained over the years can be helpful to other people without me having to kind of mentor someone individually on a daily basis. Although that would be really nice, but I don't know if I would be able to. Successfully, at least. Of course, this is Bandit. I know his leg this looks wrong, but I don't care, I'm gonna keep it. Okay, and then this thing down here at the bottom is supposed to be a blanket. Doesn't really make sense, but compositionally it helped. I like to add a lot of overlap if I can in my pieces. And that kind of helps tie everything together a little bit better. Hi, Jar. Hi, Technologic. Any tips for beginners looking to learn how to illustrate? I was just mentioning this earlier to Ben, and I mean, obviously taking courses is great, but if I'm being 100% honest, just drawing every day is super key, which is so annoying to hear, because I feel like when I was first learning, I asked people the same thing and they said that, and I was like, what the heck? Whatever, that's not what I wanted to hear. But I do think that it's extremely true, just not that I was intentionally doing that, but I had to work every day and draw every day, and I just slowly became better over time. So I think for me it was I was just drawing every day, 8 hours a day for work, and if you can fit in an hour or two every day, maybe learning anatomy or taking one Skillshare class or doing an illustration challenge, that would be a great place to start. I think I really like the Instagram illustration challenges because it gives you a prompt. You can kind of do whatever you want. It's still fun, but you're not pressured by a client or anything. So if you need to put it off, you can. No one's gonna say anything about it. Oh, thank you so much. A dainty tune. Dainty? Dainty. I can't even talk right now. A dainty tune. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. Oh, man. I don't usually draw on a Saturday, so this is quite an experience having to talk in front of people while I'm half asleep still. Do you guys think she should be wearing socks? I can't decide, like, this is supposed to be an illustration of, you know, someone lounging during lockdown. I don't know if I wear socks more or less now that I'm, you know, on my stay-at-home order. So I can't decide, but I feel like it would look kind of fun on her. Oh yay, Ben, I'm so glad that you started drawing. Are you drawing right now? And Bruno, how is your process when you're collaborating with an animator? Tell us a little of how you approach organizing layers and stuff like that. Yeah, so it really depends on what kind of project I'm working on. So if it's a cell, I worry too much about file organization, which might sound horrible, but if they're going to be redrawing and recreating everything anyway, especially with characters, I don't worry too much about how the stuff's organized. But if it's another project where there's After Effects animators or riggers working on it, I just make sure that everything is labeled super clearly. I mean, if they need it in Vector, I can do it in Vector, but I usually try to stick to Photoshop just because I'm faster at it and there's cooler textures you can add and stuff, but I know it's not ideal. So I really just try to keep everything organized and have everything labeled and don't delete anything unnecessary, but make sure that you don't have any empty layers in there, which is like really key because it really sucks when you're an animator and you have to go in and get rid of all the extra stuff. But yeah, that's the main component. But if there's someone, like I'm working with someone who's rigging the characters right now, normally I wouldn't separate the limbs or anything if I was illustrating. And if I'm working with someone who has to rig in After Effects, I will always make sure that the limbs are separated into their own little groups, just so they can easily separate that with Duick or whatever they're using. Yeah, so I did end up adding socks, thank you guys. Flip-flops. She does kind of look like she's in the backyard. Maybe she should be wearing Birkenstocks inside. Birkenstocks with socks, isn't that a thing? She's gotta have her hairy legs. These little lines to indicate the elbow. Okay. Let's see. I feel like we could make the plant more interesting. I kind of like that it's leaning, but I'm not really sure what kind of plant it should be. I'll probably just go pretty generic because I'm feeling lazy. That's what you guys are going to hear me say a lot, is I don't feel like doing this. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but I don't feel like putting too much thought into it. This is more just for me to kind of get out some of my creative energy, I guess. I'll probably keep these shapes the same, honestly. Let's see. I think I can make them more like wavy. I feel like that's really trendy right now, but it's okay to go with the trend, I think sometimes. I mean, I try to like vary it up, but sometimes it's just already in your head, you know, like you see it everywhere and then you do it as well. I'm not saying to copy anything, but I just have been seeing a lot of these wobbly leaves. Hi, a Dainty Tune again. As a freelance illustrator and designer, what tips do you have on approaching art directors and brands? I'm always unsure of how to pose myself in emails and any points I should hone in on. Yeah, so I think that especially if you're going to be sending out emails, just make sure you keep it short. A lot of art directors and producers don't have the time to read all of their emails. So try to get their attention quickly. And sometimes that's just like, hey, this is my name, here's my website, here's my rate, or whatever, and just leave it at that. I honestly think people will really appreciate that because they don't have all the time. And I mean, even saying like, I don't mind if you don't, or like, no need to respond, just wanting to share my work. I think that helps and honestly like puts the pressure off of the other person, so they'll probably remember you for just being kind. But as far as like wanting to actually get your work out there, I would just make sure that your website only shares the things that you really want to work on. So if you want to be a designer but you have animation on your website, I wouldn't leave that on there just to say that you have more skills. I would just not include it if you don't actually want to do it, and then kind of give yourself like a clear defined role. Just tell them what you do exactly. And then as far as like finding people to email, that's always tough, but I think the best way to introduce yourself to people is through connections. Like if you know someone who's already worked somewhere, they're much more likely to hire someone that they trust suggested. So, I mean, it might be tougher. Like not everyone has a connection at Buck or something. But if you do know someone somewhere, try to use that to your advantage if you can. Or I mean, if they want to help you out. So that always, like I always get way more work through recommendations than through just like random cold emails. And then Technologic, you asked, how do you stay motivated on days when you don't feel like doing anything? Well, today is one of those days, so good question. I have trouble with it. I mean, honestly, sometimes it's just like forcing yourself to do something. Like right now, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go live, and that means I have to do it because people are watching me. But on days, like actual work days, it's tough. If I'm feeling really, really, really unmotivated and really out of it, especially since I work from home, it's really nice to be able to like go out and have a coffee downstairs. I mean, obviously now it's like weird because we're in our houses, but you know, go take my dog out for a walk or just like walk around the block, kind of refresh myself, and also give myself permission to not finish as much as I was intending to. Like I think sometimes the pressure I put on myself is worse than what I actually need to get done. So I don't know if it's the same for you, but kind of being relaxed with yourself. And then also, you don't have to work every day. I don't always try to get something artistic done every day. Like if you guys have noticed, I haven't posted anything on my Instagram in like a week and a half because everything is so crazy. So that's my unnecessarily long answer, but yeah, staying motivated on days where you're not motivated is really hard. I'm not gonna lie, like it's not easy to always get it right, and I mean you gotta like forgive yourself for that sometimes. All right, so I forgot, I'm going to move the text into this refined sketch so that it's a little darker, and then I'm going to group all of this into like one big sketch layer. And I'm going to turn the opacity down, and I'm going to use this little color block of my old illustration to pick some colors, and I'll probably change it as I go, but yeah. And I think for my brush, I like have renamed all of my brushes, so I honestly can't tell you what they are, but I'm pretty sure most of them are from Kyle Webster. So I have this inking folder, and I really like using this thick blot brush because it's like really textural. And I like using that for edges of things, and then I usually will like draw, a shape and close it, and then select it, and then I have an action set up where it just is this my actions? No. yeah, I have this fill action, which is like you select it and then it expands it by 2 pixels and fills with the foreground color and then deselects it. So that's how I fill in my drawn shapes. Oh yeah, and Freelance Manifesto, Bruno, good suggestion. Joey Corman wrote that, and it's really, really helpful. I actually read it before I started going freelance, and he has a lot of basic and straightforward email tips in there, which I thought were great. And then Mito and Dora, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I just butchered your name. Let me just read what you said. On that note of reaching out, do you think the physical promos could be more effective? Is it something you've ever tried? I haven't actually tried printing anything. Like, if I had just gotten a random email, maybe wouldn't remember unless we like followed each other on Instagram or something. So I definitely think physical mementos or like a postcard with your design and your contact information on it could be really, really helpful, actually. It just depends on if it gets to the right person, you know. Sometimes it might just go to the front desk and then people won't see it. So, yeah. How do you learn to add abstract elements in? Is that what I was taught in school? I mean, I wasn't really taught that in school, but I just, I mean, obviously, oh, what is happening? Oh my gosh, I hate when this happens. My key commands stop working. Okay, hang on. Okay, no, oh no, I hate this. Okay. All right, hold on, guys. I'm gonna close Photoshop. All right. This keeps happening to me. My Photoshop is so shitty. Actually, it's my computer. My computer is from 2013, as I was saying in the last live stream, and it is really bad. And it sounds like it's taking off. It's like a rocket ship right now. So, I also was gonna maybe use like the cover I made for this live stream. I might just pick from. I mean, I actually picked from the Get It Girl illustration too, but I like them. I like the colors it chose. So sometimes I'll do this. Just put everything in the corner over here. All right. So here's my colors. Oh my goodness, my computer is gonna blow up. And usually I'll start, oh gosh, I never answered your question, stay balanced. Adding abstract elements, I think for me is more just to balance out the composition. So if like one corner of it feels kind of empty, I'll personally just go in and kind of add some circles or something that feel within the realm of the illustration. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but that's the only reason I can think that I actually do that. Oh my gosh. What software is better at illustrating, and which one would you recommend? Photoshop, Illustrator, CorelDRAW. I mean, obviously I love Photoshop because I'm using it right now. I think it has an extremely powerful capability. And then I really love Procreate. It's kind of up there, in my opinion. But everyone has their own thing. I mean, honestly, I think that drawing, like if you're practicing drawing, you can, and you're using like a tablet or a Cintiq, and you're used to the Cintiq or tablet, it's no matter what. Sorry, I can't talk. No matter what program you're using, I think that your illustration skills are gonna, shine through. So it doesn't really matter if you're using Procreate or if you're using Photoshop. They're probably gonna feel kind of similar. Illustrator, on the other hand, is like if you are less, I don't want to say the word capable, but if you're less experienced or you don't really want to draw by hand, and less experienced isn't the right word because people who use Illustrator are crazy amazing. I just mean like if you don't like drawing with a tablet, basically, then I think Illustrator is a great option because it gets those really cool Bezier curves and has really strong shape capability, and you can do like symmetry really easily, and it's really easy to fill in colors, whereas in Photoshop you kind of have to go in layer by layer and do that. When in Illustrator you can do that like color trick tool trick where you can rotate the entire palette. It's kind of fun to play with. So it really is a personal opinion thing, but I personally love Photoshop. Hi, Glenn. Yeah, I know. My computer is crazy. I mean, I think part of it is like I have AC, or not AC, but heat on at the same time. So my whole room sounds like it's going to explode. But yeah, my computer is very loud. It's like, I'm realizing after doing this live stream last week or whenever I did it, that I should probably get a new computer. Not gonna lie, it's really bad. So I had it like refurbished, but it is not doing so hot still. And I've been getting messages of people like asking what software, like what computer to get, and I'm like, I have literally no idea. I haven't bought a computer since college, and my parents bought it for me, so yeah. Yeah, Glenn has a good point. Like if you're using a mouse and you're not using a tablet, layer. If you're using a mouse and not a tablet, Illustrator is going to be way better and way easier for you. I just like really love my Cintiq, but this is also how I learned to illustrate, like in school and everything. So I think for me, yeah, it's just how I learned. Do you ever do client work on Procreate, or is it a sketch machine? I don't really do much client work, except for sometimes I'll do storyboarding in there if I want to work on the couch, or sometimes I'll do like the first round of sketches for a client on there. But I think for me, I can't really do giant files because Procreate doesn't allow you to have a lot of layers with bigger file sizes. So if I'm doing like a print project or something, I will need to do 300 dpi, which will take up more space. So I typically only use it for like my Instagram posts, Procreate that is. But yeah, I've used it for like the beginning process of projects. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, some people might be looking at me drawing this shape out and think I'm silly for not using Illustrator. But I don't know, something about the like wonky lines and imperfections of drawing in Photoshop is really fun for me. I just like how it looks, so. And to be honest with you guys, I don't know. Let's see if I can finish this while we're still streaming. I sometimes need to take a break, so. But yeah, usually I'll draw stuff out like this and change a lot of the colors as I go or towards the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if this turned out being a completely different palette. But thank you to everyone who's hanging out and watching. I appreciate not drawing alone. If I'm being honest, it's been, hard to illustrate while everything's happening, obviously. But then also Animal Crossing has been so distracting. It's like, I don't know if any of you guys are playing it, but it's like I'll go to do one thing, like build a fence or something, and then on the way I'll see a butterfly and get distracted, and then I have to catch the butterfly, and then I'm like, oh wait, I have to sell the butterfly for bells, and I totally forget about the first thing I was doing, building a fence or whatever, and it's crazy. I never thought that I would be playing so many games. I guess it's just one game, but one game for so long. I'm obsessed. Yeah, a quick way to get burned out is to make stuff in a way you don't find fun. That's true. I do find this fun right now, but yeah, that's definitely true. I do have a little bit of a headache, but I've had it all day, so I can't get rid of it, so I'm just kind of living through it. Hi, Zoe. Yeah, I have to say, I definitely am going to be getting the Quarantine 15, or whatever we're calling it, because I cannot stop eating. It's like, I don't know. It's like, oh, I'm going to go take a break downstairs, and then I'm like, oh wait, the cupboard is right by the stairs. Alright, this is cool. And then I just eat more things. Do you guys have any suggestions for adding like a different color into this? I don't know, I'm not like loving the way I'm using these colors right now. Feels a little bit too primary. Maybe it needs like a pop of red, or maybe her skin or hair needs to be a different color. Oh no, you fall asleep. That's really funny. I am like really tired during this quarantine. It's crazy. I don't know, I think it's just because I'm like always sitting, so then I don't get energized. Can I teach you how to make your fill action? Yeah, sure. I don't want to distract too much from what I'm doing right now. Let's see if I can think of how to... It's hard because I made it so long ago, I don't really remember exactly how to do it. But how about this? How about maybe either can you message me on Instagram, or can you hit me up after this, and I'll make it an Instagram story highlight about it. Because I think it would be better if I actually researched how I did it again, because there's a certain like keyboard combination you have to do to get it right, and I always forget the keyboard combination. So yeah, hit me up and I'll make a story feature probably in the next couple of days, and then it'll be there for people to see all the time. They don't have to stream through or go through the stream every time they want to learn it. Yellow color for the dog, maybe. So maybe a yellow could just be kind of an accent color throughout. Hi, thanks for joining, Nicole. I think that's your Nicole. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at names. But I really appreciate you being here. And just to clarify, I'm not making this animation friendly whatsoever. Like, this is how, ooh, what did I just do? This is how my illustrations that aren't client friendly look, and they're like, or not client, sorry, like animation friendly look. Well, if I'm sending them to a client, I never make it messy either, but if it's just for me, it's usually like a hot mess. Maybe these shadows need to be. No. Yeah, maybe this is yellow instead. Like a mustard yellow. Or I can. Or maybe it's this. I think maybe the green is what's throwing me off. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know if that's the right yellow, but it's a little better. I don't know. I'll probably go back and change everything. Alright, let's see. Let's get on to the legs. Alright. Maybe I'll do like a light pink for the shorts. Just to keep it light. It's like too close to her skin tone. Well, we'll see what happens. I can always change it. Oh, burgundy could be cool. I always forget about burgundy. That's kind of nice. That, like, I don't know, that feels nice and airy. Hopefully springy. I don't know. I'm gonna go back in and maybe add some burgundy as I go. Thank you. I like this peach too. It'll be nice. I feel like we could put that peach in the lamp. What is that? Yeah, the light, maybe to kind of balance it out. Or it could be in the flower pot, or sorry, the plant pot. I don't know if you guys watch streamers a lot. Like, I have never really watched streamers. But I was thinking about this the other day. Like, if someone's streaming for a long time, and they have to go to the bathroom, like I don't right now, but what do they do? Do they just, like, leave the room and come back? Or, like, put it on pause? Or do they tell everyone, or they're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom? Or do they say, oh, someone's at the door? I don't know. I haven't watched enough streams. Oops. Oh, thank you, Bruno. Shadows are fun. Trying to make them kind of stark. That one didn't work very well. Maybe I'll just make the back short a different color, or like, or maybe I'll just outline it. That's what I'll do. Sometimes I'm like not very consistent with where I put line work and where I put shadows. It's kind of just like based on where I think there needs to be some blue or where there needs to be some orange. Oh, I forgot she's wearing socks. I don't even need that. Just saying I need to go to the bathroom. No, I don't actually have to go. I was just like a random thought I was having the other day. Because I don't watch streamers enough. And I was like, I feel like people stream for hours. And then they don't leave. Also, I have this like internal pressure on myself to like get stuff done right now, so that's part of it. Fern and yellow for the socks. Actually, yeah, I didn't see this, but yellow is totally what I was thinking too. And when you say fern, I can't tell if you mean green or maybe I don't know. But let me know. I think this worked out pretty well though. I need to draw like where her leg is kind of intersecting with her torso here. Kind of like a crease. Maybe she has like a pattern on her shorts too. Actually, I'm gonna save that pattern for her legs because she's gonna have hairy legs. Maybe her leg hair is like just a lighter or darker colored version of her skin, so it's not so in your face. She needs a shadow under her hand here. It's so ridiculous. Okay. I don't want it to be the main focus though, you know, like obviously I honestly don't overshave that often, but I don't think it's gross or anything to not have shaved legs. I just don't want it to be the center of attention, so I'm going to kind of turn down the opacity on it. Okay. Alright. So she's pretty much done. And then there's going to be some blanket and taunt in front of her. I'm going to use the green because there's going to be green up here in the plants. So we'll balance it out with some green at the bottom. Totally forgot I still need to draw Bandit. I have no idea what color. I guess he could be like the blue. Kind of looks, you're right, it does look like she's in grass now, and like, I don't want her to look like she's outside. So maybe we choose a completely different, maybe I go with this. Maybe her shirt is green? Don't love it, so I'm gonna leave it like this for now and come back to it. Okay, so on the blanket there's some like creases. And thank you so much. I'm pretty happy with how it's looking so far. It's kind of fun. Maybe there needs to be like some kind of shadow from her on this blanket. Maybe. I don't know, it looks kind of weird. I'll leave it. I'll leave it for now. It's always easier to remove stuff than to add stuff, so. I appreciate all of you guys being here. 8 people. I'm like really impressed that people are still watching after all of this. Unfortunately, since this is done in Photoshop, I'm not going to be able to show like the time-lapse of it, because the time-lapse always comes from Procreate. But I'm really glad, I guess I can point people to this live stream if they want to go back and see what I did. So that's kind of dark. Like, I feel like it looks like a little, he's in the background or something there. So maybe I'll do like a brown. I feel like adding some more warm tones in might be nice. Let's see. Let's change it up with some hue satch. Kind of like, maybe this is where that burgundy comes in. Maybe I'll make it more like light burgundy. I mean, honestly, the fact that it says burgundy is really fitting. I don't know if you guys like Anchorman, but I Love Lamp is a very famous moment in that movie, and the main character's name is Ron Burgundy, so I feel like there has to be some burgundy in here. Even though, I guess, I don't think that's really burgundy. Like, what does burgundy even look like? Meh, yeah, kinda. Yeah, I didn't get the tail yet, because I think I'm going to make it the blue, maybe? I'll get there. Don't worry. be hard to tell. Maybe I'll use this pink color to give him a little eye patch. I'm glad that you think it's kind of like a therapy. I don't know, it's kind of a slow process to watch. So hopefully it's giving you a little bit of peace. I know usually when I'm drawing, like especially I'm just drawing something for fun, I get kind of lost in it, and it's really nice to have that during all this time. I can't really imagine not being an artist during this time, which is horrible. I'm sure other people have other things they can do, like play games or call loved ones, but something about being in the art industry while this is happening has been really calming. So I agree with you, Bruno. Yeah, I feel like live streams are better, especially like if people are working. It's a lot easier for people to tune in because they can just like put it on the side of their window or like their desktop while they're working. So I agree. I like YouTube live streams. All right, here comes the green. I need to balance out the green somehow, so I'll probably add green into the girl somewhere. So something I really like to do is I'll try, like if I'm using like an accent color like this burgundy color, I'll try to put it in 3 places across the composition. Give this lamp as well. Just so it kind of draws your eye around the entire frame, and then also kind of makes you look inward because it's like all of these items are kind of pointing into this woman. Atef says, is there a rule for shadow colors? Like when you choose a darker shade of the subject's color, do you choose different contrasting ones? That's a good question. I don't have like a rule of thumb with that. Like obviously with the woman's skin, I just used like the dark navy, which doesn't feel realistic at all. But then on her shirt, I did the orange. I did orange on multiply. I think that's what I did. And I don't know. There's something about having less intense shadows on the shirt that kind of makes it feel more realistic. I don't know, I mean, like, this isn't realistic, but it just makes it feel a little less in your face, because when the shadows on her body or on her shirt were also this navy color, it just kind of felt too harsh, and it was hard for me to know what to look at, so it separates the shirt from the skin, so that's kind of why I chose that. But as far as shading, I don't know, I usually put something on multiply mode or just play with the hue saturation until it gets to a place that I like. So I don't know, that doesn't really answer your question, but there's no real way like to determine that, I think. I just kind of go with my gut there sometimes, which is like a horrible answer, but oops. Forgot what I was was doing. This is like me playing Animal Crossing. Maybe this is just me in real life. I'm just always in the middle of something and then I start something else. So with that lamp there, I want to make sure it kind of falls back and doesn't distract too much, because I feel like when it was that darker color, it took away from the impact of the woman, because it was just distracting from her. But this top moment doesn't really do that, because it's far away from her and kind of leads your eye inward. Any tips for creating interesting compositions and illustrations? There's lots of tips or tricks that you can use. I'm trying to think of specific examples now, but like rule of thirds is one, which I'm kind of using. Like generally, there's something of interest on the left side, something of interest in the middle, something of interest on the left or the right. And then there's also, like, if you use the rule of thirds in a different way, putting something on the left or right side of your illustration and making that the focal point is really a good way to balance your composition, or like add some negative space. But no, I mean, I think a lot of it comes to life with color. If you're not placing your colors correctly, that could ruin a really cool composition. Not ruin, but just make it not as strong, you know? But for this one, I think, honestly, since this was just me messing around and wanting to draw something, I wasn't really thinking about it. I probably have some compositional rules ingrained in me from school that I forgot about that I'm using here. So I feel like that navy right there is way too dark. So I'm going to use a version of the green. And then maybe the shadow will stay. Yeah, that works better. I'm trying to finish this up real quick because I realize it's kind of late, and I think we're going to be watching a movie tonight, so I want to make sure that we have some time to eat dinner first. I know it's Saturday, but we're really going wild and having a late dinner. I guess it's only 7:20, but usually we eat at like 6:30. And it's all my fault because I'm drawing. Oh, I just thought of another, I don't know, Amanda, if you're still here, but another tip I thought of for composition is, it's more just about feeling, but a lot of times it's really easy to tell if something's working if you zoom out really fast, and not fast, but like you zoom out and you can still see the shapes really well, or like it's very clear or feels balanced. That is really key for me, is like being able to see it so far away, see what's happening, and get a feel for the balance of color and everything. And right now I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh gosh, I need that green somewhere else. So maybe I'll put it in her shirt or her shorts, or maybe it'll end back up on her mask. I don't think that's enough though, so I might put it on her shirt. Let's see. Yeah, so that's feeling more balanced. Like, I don't know if I love the green. I don't know. But I do feel like the eye shape around Bandit's eye is a little too bright. Like when I zoom out, it just looks like he has a giant eye. So I might make it that orange color. I also feel like this plant stem is a little too thin, so I'm just going to duplicate it and move it over. Same with the lamp. And put a little shadow on there. Yeah, so my shadows are going all over the place and they're not in the the right direction, but whatever. Hey Sarah, do you have any tips on setting boundaries or on working when you're working from home? I've had a hard time not working all the time since the switch to remote. Gosh, yeah, I mean, I honestly struggle with that too because I moved into an office like maybe a couple months, maybe more like 6 months before all this happened, and that was one of the main reasons was it was really hard for me to work from home. So I'm not the best at it, but I definitely think having a separate, I know it's not possible for everyone, but having a separate space that you can go to that's only your office space and only your workspace, and literally only using that to work. And then if you want to use your laptop elsewhere, just remove it from your workstation. That has really helped me a lot. And then on top of that, making sure, and I don't do this all the time because I've been really bad about it lately, but making sure that you like have your morning routine where you like get up on time, have a shower or whatever you do to wake yourself up, have coffee, take a little time to do that, or exercise or whatever, and then start your day, because usually when I get up and I'm like all groggy and then I just go to work in my pajamas, it does not work. Like I can't stay motivated. So it's really key, I think, to continue on it as if you were having a normal work day. Okay, I kind of like the light hairs now, like that. A little bit brighter, darker. Bruno asks, what kind of project do you like to do the most? It's something that you like more to draw. Yeah, I mean, that's hard because I feel like it's always evolving. But, I love things that are, like, I love doing these Instagram posts, but I really love things that turn into animation. Just because it's really fun to see your work come to life. And so for me, like working with studios or animation studios that have a pretty open brief and a decent budget where there can be really good animators on it, that's my favorite kind of project. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's just like having a little bit less to worry about in terms of client feedback or the company you're working with, or just people who like work well together as a team. I think that's kind of my ideal project, is just working with someone I admire or someone who's super talented, or someone I get along with really well is also key. You can be talented and not be very nice. So I think that doesn't really answer your question. Probably, that's probably not what you were asking, but yeah, I think for me it's less about the actual content and more about the project management and the project itself. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get off here in a second because it's not done, but I feel like it's getting close to done, and then that will leave everyone something to look forward to on Instagram. So I really appreciate you guys all being here and supporting me. I know it's really weird working from home and, you know, not having a normal lifestyle, but I think if we can stick together as a community, that's kind of all we need. Not all we need, but it will really help us to survive this craziness. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for asking questions and giving me suggestions and all that. I'm excited to do more of these. If you guys have any suggestions for what to potentially put in a live stream, I would love to hear it. Please just message me on Instagram, and I will follow up with that fill action technique via Instagram stories or something. Just hit me up if I forget, because I am pretty forgetful. So yeah, thank you guys. It's been so great. Have a great night or day or whatever part of the world you're in. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.